Welcome back to Sixes and Sevens grand final special. Melbourne Storm versus the Brisbane Broncos. And there hasn't been much out of both camps. There's probably the only little bit we can probably find out of both camps is that poor Stefano has probably never done an interview in his whole life, and he's been put on the stand to have an interview, and he's lit a fire, he's lit a fuse, and it's grand final week. So this is what it's all about, Mitch. How do you see it playing out, and I don't know. What's your thoughts on the whole week? It's obviously grand final. It's a special week. You've been a part of one that you lost. You've been a part of one that you won, or two.
Sure, I played 3-1 over here.
Yeah.
But mate, we're going to that. Well, just the Stefano question quickly. What's he doing? I saw it briefly. Like obviously, it popped up on all the socials and everything like that. I saw great Matty Johns comment on one of the things that popped up on socials through SEN, I think it was. He had a bit of a laugh. He said the coach has probably picked the most quiet guy in the room just to keep short answers, and then he's come back and Stefano's come out and turned on the opposition. But in a way, I love it. Obviously, it's good for the we're sitting here talking about it. It adds to the spectacle. I've seen Payne Haas come back out, kept a pretty straight bat, but sort of staunched his back up a bit towards Stefano, took it personal. So I think it's all part of the theatre. But yeah, I suppose we won't know what he's sort of on about till after the game, win or lose. I'm sure the journos will hit him up and find out a bit of info. But yeah, it was a bit funny actually.
So just for the people who are listening who may have missed what he actually said, Stefano called the Broncos stuck up opponents. He said, there's going to be a lot of people I want to run at. There's a lot of people I don't like. I'm keen to get out there and run someone over. I don't want to name names. There's a lot of people I think are a bit stuck up, and I'm pretty keen to run at them and do a job for the team. So there's a few of the quotes from the man himself.
Fuck, you would love to see Bellamy's head. Surely that's not part of Bellamy's makeup. You know, out of the whole time he's been there in Melbourne, I don't reckon I've ever seen or heard anyone come out of their camp saying shit like that. Maybe there has been, but not that I can remember. Like, they keep a pretty tight ship, so it's fucking hilarious, if anything.
Right, it's hilarious. Crazy, but it's hilarious because you don't expect it. But as you said, it's all part of the theatre, and it probably doesn't need too much hype, this game. I think it's come down to the way it is. The form team in the competition is the Brisbane Broncos, isn't it? They've won now, I think, 7 or 8 in a row since their injuries of Reynolds and Ezra Mam. They're both welcome back. And then Melbourne went through. Both teams have had the week off, so they're fresh, obviously leading into last week's game. So everything's sort of set for a massive game. But there's no bigger theatre than the man at the fullback for the Broncos is Reese Walsh, isn't it? I think,
yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah,
the matchups are great.
Stage is set. The stage is set. There's so many matchups.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, it's obviously, we spoke about it on Monday morning show about how they're going to bring down Melbourne's spine, and I'm still confused how they're going to. I'm going to go for Melbourne. I'll put my balls on the line now. Melbourne, for me, I think will get the job done purely off the back of their big game players. Pappenhausen, Grant, Hughes and Munster. I just think at the end of the day, for me, just little moments within the arm wrestle, I just think they got their edge. It's just how I see it. It's sort of been proven again through the final series. As good as I think, I'll play devil's advocate. I think if the Broncos are to win, it'll be purely off the back of Walsh's moments. That's how I see it. I don't think as great as Reyno is, and I love Reyno and Benny Hunt and Ezra that they got there. I just don't know if they've got the same cohesion that Melbourne have in the big moments. Like, they've done it for a great period of time. The thing that worries me a little bit for Broncos, only to be negative about them, we'll speak about their positives, but just that first half last week, I know they got jumped, didn't have much possession, but there was still a bit of clunk there. They can't have clunk this week. Because Melbourne's not going to be clunky. They're going to be clinical from the start. They're going to fucking ambush the fuck out of them. The kicking game's going to be on point. So they're going to have to be proper clinical. And then I think if they do that, there is a chance of Walshy coming off the back of it with his little moments. But I just think, I don't know. It's hard to go against the great spine of Melbourne. And you go man for man too with the pack. The pack's, like we just spoke about, had a giggle about Stefano, but Stefano was outstanding last week. He's been great. He's not paying Haas, but he can definitely go with him. Katoa in the back row, up against a Ricky if he's on that same side, is he? Carrigan versus Josh King. These guys. I think Broncos maybe have got a bit more in the middle, but I just think it comes down to that spine of Melbourne for me in the end.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Is in grand final week, it's the final two teams. You can sit here and have a debate. I reckon we could, and obviously it's good. Without grand final week, I've got to go against you, so I'm going to say the Broncos will win, just to have a debate about it and have a chat about it and make it juicy because they're underdogs. So if they were to win, I'll get 3 points and I'll finish on 33. You'll finish on 25, which is a lot. But we won't talk about the cheddar today because it's not my week. It's not my grand final week. It's theirs.
Sounds like you're making it about you. But anyway.
Well, I am a little bit, but the footy nerds know about what it's all about. Like they know I've won, so I'll wait for my trophy to be sent for next year. You can. I'll go back to back. Yeah. But it's I look at the same thing, and the concern for me, because I think the Broncos can win, is what happened 3 weeks ago against the Raiders. They were down and out. They were gone. If Reese Walsh doesn't do what he does, they don't win. And then the same on the weekend against the Panthers. They were down and out and gone, but the whole team fought back. They got back with their own momentum. I thought they found something. I think the return of Pat Carrigan will be massive for the Broncos. I think they missed him early in that game against Penrith. But I'm with you. The platform in the middle will be laden. Melbourne's doesn't change, and Brisbane's probably doesn't change too much either. They go through the power of Payne Haas, Carrigan, and then when their bench come, I thought it was, Willison was unreal when he come on last week against Penrith. So he'll add an impact, and then we know what Melbourne does too. They just clinical. They'll go at you. They'll create options, either short side, open field play. They'll move the ball, which gives Harry Grant so much joy. But I don't know. It's hard to pick. I'm only picking Broncos because you went Melbourne. If you went Melbourne, Broncos, I would have went Melbourne. So it's.
To talk about where the points come from,
there's ways for both teams to win.
To talk about where the points come from, you think about Walshy. To be honest, there's some confidence if I was Broncos, though, going against Melbourne's edges. Like, you think about that play last week, Katoni Staggs, instead of it being Jesse Ramey, and Nico went down the short side on the right, played short, they ended up scoring from 50 metres out. That's Walsh to Staggs. And they do that nearly better than anyone. So I can see opportunities there. Kennedy's pass last week when Melbourne tried to rush D and he found his way through. Once again, that's Walshy late in the game on the weekend down that same edge. I'm not saying that's a guarantee that's going to open up, but there has been some points for Melbourne in similar situations that the finals, that they've leaked points in previous weeks and especially last week. And Broncos do that style of footy on those edges quite well. So they would be backing themselves that there's opportunity and that they can capitalise on points. I think the best bet for Broncos is that midfield footy. Like, I reckon against Melbourne there's joy around midfield because they defend a little bit tighter. I always found playing against them and their system's nearly as good as anyone. So they know what they're doing, but there is opportunities to move the ball in midfield against Melbourne. There always has been. So I reckon there's an opportunity with the way Broncos play that there might be some space and opportunity around there. And like you said, in a big game, it's going to be live ball footy. So they're the plays that win your games, and that's got Walshy, Staggs, Reyno written all over it.
When you say move the ball in that midfield, are you wanting to move the ball to create space, create momentum, create obviously for getting further down the park, or you wanting to create points?
No, I think you're moving it there. Sometimes it's a two-part play. Like, just the fact that their line's short, it might be to move to space to get their three men involved and then double up again. That was that Nico play last week. He played around that 40% and found space on the keep going. It's not always on to just, like you've said, we had a disagreement, I think, a couple of weeks ago because you said they can't go all out and just play all out footy. Play eyes up and force errors, I think it was, which I agree with. But it's about if Melbourne's going to defend a bit tighter, they got to use the ball. But it's natural for Broncos to do that. They do that well. So that's why I'm saying I think Katoni Staggs 1-on-1 out there he'll be man on man with Warbrick, will he? Who's he up against?
Nah, Katoni Staggs will be up against Howarth.
Howarth, that's the one. So I see opportunity. Yeah. I see opportunity there. I see some opportunity around midfield. They're in their own style that they can move the ball. I think there'll be more room for them around there. And I think it's their best strength, getting Walshy. You spoke about it last week, getting Walshy on long shifts, playing him wider whenever he can around there, using his speed and those centres that they've got. I just think that's their best opportunity to create points. But at the same time, Melbourne do that well themselves. So I think if it's a live ball game, it's going to be an exciting game. And it'll come down to those little moments, whether it's Walshy, Reyno, Ezra, or on the other side, Pappenhausen and Hughes and Munster coming up with their little trick plays around there. Because I think the forward battle is going to be consistent, isn't it?
I see Melbourne using the Warbrick Coates kick options as a massive plus for them. I reckon they'll go to that a lot when they're down in good ball. Karapani, Dean Mariner, not big bodies. They're obviously strong, fast, can move, but the jump of Warbrick and Coates scares me. I think they'll use them a lot. They obviously go their kicks all the time, their guns. It's one of those things. You sit there and you think about it, and the stage is set for it to evolve in so many different ways because both teams have got the ability to throw the playbook out the window and play footy, and then they've also got the ability to play the power game. It's the one that gets unravelled if the playbook does go out the window, and in periods it does get thrown out because you have to chase points or you have to play footy because you've got a quick play the ball to do it. It's who comes up with the final pass or the error that creates that opportunity. I reckon it's not going to be always scored on the momentum. It's going to be scored when you don't have the momentum on the back foot and someone makes an error and all of a sudden you either swoop on the ball or they've got all the momentum, they make an error, then you go out the other end of the park and score and relieve all the pressure with scoring. Not an easy try, but because you've been under the pump for so long because the team, either Melbourne or Broncos, has put them under there through their power game or through their style of footy, I reckon it could be relieved really quick if you come up with some sort of it's not a miracle play, but if you stick to your guns and make them force the error. And that's the concern sometimes when you play against a Melbourne. They want you to sort of go. They invite you to go around them. They're happy for you to play a little bit of football on them. But sometimes when you give someone that freedom to play footy with Reese Walsh, he might look to play a long ball. He might look to offload, and all of a sudden a Munster picks it up and goes into the backfield. But I'm with you. It's going to be one of those games. It'll be the game of the ages if it's just free-flowing footy and they both have the rub of the green and the ref lets the game flow.
So, Toddy, are you saying like the way Reese Walsh plays pretty much plays straight into the Storm's hand? Like they'll be wanting him to kind of go for those big plays, and that's what the Storm want from him?
Yeah, I believe Storm would rather him pass than run because the speed he's got on that edge. I would be happy for Reese to pass if I was defending against him. I would be. Yes, his pass is lethal, but his running game is more dangerous because he's so powerful. He can break the line, he can get through, he can get his nose through the pass. But then there's an offload option too. His offload options is his third thought. I think he's always run first. His short pass
is ball second.
His cutout ball is also the last option too, which sometimes it becomes unstuck for him. But in big moments, his cutout ball is lethal because teams are waiting for him to run because he's that player that goes at the game. He'll take it head on. So they backpedal and think, oh, please don't run pass. And all of a sudden he takes off. Or then if he takes off and throws that pass. He's got so many bows up his sleeve that what option he chooses is always lethal. But there's always a risk for the error. And if the error comes, it relieves all the pressure of what they've just created, because that's what Melbourne want. They want to get an opportunity to then get it back and play their style for you. Then you go on the other side of the field and you've got the same thing. And when we talk about, and I reckon a lot of people that do podcasts, a lot of people that are breaking down the games of footy this week, when they talk about the Broncos, a lot of it's around Reese Walsh. The Melbourne Storm, we're talking about Hughes, Pappenhausen, Munster, Grant. So there's 4 players you can make cases for that are going to break the game open.
Yeah, it's such a good point. Yeah. What you're saying there, Toddy. I think for me, the reason that I get more confidence out of Melbourne is I trust their temperament more, and that's probably over years and years of consistency. I just think when the game comes down to the moments you just went in detail about, and what we're hoping that Broncos can deliver on, like coming up with the right play, and I just think for them, like the occasion and can they keep their temperament in those moments compared to a Melbourne? I just think Melbourne. I can't see Melbourne being flustered. Like at the end of the day, whether if they lose the game, I don't think it'll be through being flustered. It won't be through being flustered. If Broncos lose, I think there would be a chance that we have a conversation that they got flustered and they overplayed and they didn't handle the occasion. And that's why I've got more confidence in Melbourne. But if Broncos can seize the moment, like you said, they've done that the last couple of weeks. They've come from behind. They've won from in front. From that 6-7 week period of wins, they've done it in every way they can. And I just think it was still a little bit clunky last week. If they can get that sorted and everything sticks for them, 100% they can win. But I just think Melbourne have got a little bit more temperament on their side. That's all. But you go man for man, and as we said last week on the Monday show, on the Monday show, the power game of Broncos, like you said, and the size of everyone is just fucking unbelievable. So individually they can win all those little battles. It'll just come down to the temperament, which, as I said last week as well, Jerome Hughes, man, fuck, he's just Mr. Cool. Munster's going to have the game of his life.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to get out of Harry Grant. That's for me, that's why I'm leaning to Melbourne.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm with you. You can make a debate on how both teams will win, and it will come down to some special plays. Both teams will come up with special plays. Who comes up with the most of them? I think the bench is going to play a massive part with how the changes happen. Obviously, Ezra comes on and Ben Hunt goes to 9 last week, and I thought it was a really good option. Wishart will get his opportunity to come on and cause some havoc through some tied Brisbane middles. I think Xavier Willison and Big Tui from Melbourne and Broncos, 2 impact players that both will make an impact, will come on, run hard, bull out of a gate style, and then it's going to be a cracker either way. But it's who's going to break first. I think they'll both try and not to throw a knockout punch early, but they'll both have their plan in that first 10 minutes. Obviously, weather the storm and get your first opportunity for the team to crack. But the time will tell come this Sunday night.
I think the thing about these two teams is pretty much, I'd say for both of them, whoever they come up against, their team has the most game breakers. Whoever the Broncos versus, Broncos got 4 or 5 game breakers. Whoever the Storm versus, you go the same thing. It's almost looking at it, like even when you look at them, like you got Pap for the Storm, you got Walsh for the Bronx, you got Staggs for the Broncos, and you got Munster for the Storm, Hughes for the Storm, and then you got Payne Haas, and then Ezra on the Broncos, and you could even call Harry Grant a game breaker. Like, if those two teams come up against anyone else, you're going, well, of course they're going to win. They've got someone who can pull something out of nothing. Both these teams have at least 4 or 5 options each.
Yeah, I guess on the back of what you're saying, Gabe, about game breakers and things like that, I think Harry Grant's up there with the most dangerous as a game breaker, because what he's done previously in games, you've seen him do it in Origin. he's the first man to get the ball all the time. So he actually dictates who he chooses. Not chooses to be a game breaker, but he sees it before anyone else. And a lot of it comes back to his pass. You see when, say, a Munster breaks open the game, or a Hughes, or even a Pappenhausen, it's on the back of probably Grant's pass, not on the back of Munster's pass, or vice versa, a Hughes pass. It always comes off him jumping out, getting outside to see defender, hitting one of his halves that are pushing support through the middle, and then the rest happens because they all go to work once it happens. But if you're sitting there, and like I've said plenty of times about what we'll expect this Sunday night, I reckon it's so unknown. It's just the way football's been this year, the way the games have been played this year. Like, it's even madness to think that if you're sitting on your couch 3 weeks ago watching the Brisbane Broncos Canberra Raiders game, a lot of Brisbane Broncos fans turn the TV off when Reese Walsh gets in bin. They're down by 16. Yeah. I reckon they turn the TV off, and it's like, all of a sudden they turn it back on, and obviously their mates would be texting, turn your fucking TV back on. But their season was done and dusted. So what they've done now, then to knock off the four-time premiers and things like that, they're going in unfazed. And both teams on both sides of the pitch. Mitch was sort of touching on grand finals that you've got to lose one to get the sense of the feeling. Melbourne only lost one last year, so their sense of feeling is just as bad as what the Broncos would be feeling from 23. So both teams understand what it's like to win one, lose one. There's players on both teams that haven't played one, haven't been a part of one. But I just think, and Mitch put it perfectly, we know what we're going to get out of Munster.
And he's playing for his old man too. There's that extra
There's so much hype around what he done in Origin this year. He's so unfazed. His game last week was probably one of the stellar performances in a finals game ever seen. So and the way Munster's playing, he's playing fearless. He's playing in control and direct. His running game comes first. So for me, it's one of those things. It can happen. It will happen in the blink of an eye. It can happen over the 80 minutes, and
that's the beauty of this game.
I'm not a betting man to say, it's going to happen in the blink of an eye for Reese Walsh or Munster or Hughes, Pappenhausen, whoever it will be. But every team and every player, I reckon, over the course of the game, will have a moment of brilliance.
Well, just to I guess rewind to last episode we did, are you still standing by the comment that it needs to be the Adam Reynolds show in a way, or at least he needs to have a bigger hand than Reese Walsh? Because it was an interesting take, and obviously we put it up online, and everyone was going, "Nah, it needs to be Walsh." Do you still stand by Reyno having to be the man?
I think and obviously the way I put it, the way it probably gets looked at from the viewers and the footy nerds or the fans or whatever, or it could be just people having an opinion.
Yeah.
You've got to look at it in the way I look at it. Reese Walsh is the superstar of the Brisbane Broncos. He always will be, it always was going to be grand final day. If they win on Sunday afternoon, it'll be his face on the back page of every paper in Sydney, every page in Brisbane. But I still believe, and I'll put my hat on it, that Adam Reynolds needs to play a better performance than Reese Walsh. And I'm not. And people are saying, why would you? They're in a grand final. Why would you? I'm not having a dig at Reynolds. I'm just saying he needs to play a better performance than Reese Walsh. I'm not saying that they're playing bad or poor. I'm just saying he needs to stand out more than Reese Walsh for them to win. I don't think a Reese Walsh show can just win the grand final against the Melbourne Storm. Purely on the back of how many times I talk about Melbourne Storm, I change the people I talk about. I talk about Hughes. I talk about Munster. I talk about Pappenhausen and Grant, because there's 4 players that can break a game open. And yes, at the Broncos, you've got Katoni Staggs, you've got obviously Walsh, you've got Reynolds, you've got Hunt, you've got Ezra when he comes on, you've got Payne Haas. But it doesn't happen as much as it does frequently that it does at the Melbourne Storm. So I'm just saying, for them to win, they need to have 2 players on, and one of them needs to play better than the other. And that doesn't mean he has to call the shots or whatever. I just believe that Reynolds needs to have a game of the ages for them to continue to win.
And like Reese Walsh could score 2-3 tries, and it could still be Reynolds having a better game. You know what I mean? He could be putting them on the platter for Walsh.
Well, it could be on the back of Reynolds' kick. It could be on the back of a Reynolds 40-20. Things like, and that doesn't mean he has to start running the ball and doing miracle things. It's about him going to his strengths. And everyone knows Adam Reynolds' strengths. When we sat down in the podcast, his biggest strength is his kicking game. His biggest strength is his goal. His biggest strength is him mustering a team around the footy field. He's a general. I love Adam Reynolds, and that's just why I say that he needs to play a bigger performance than his superstar fullback, just because I think that's what it takes to beat a Melbourne Storm this Sunday.
Well, even in the last game they played, when I'm sure you'd know better than anyone, when Tony Staggs is calling for that grubber, they have to make that decision quick. And Reynolds pulled the trigger on that decision to put that grubber behind for him. Even that's just great play from someone like that.
Mate, he's the best at it. Because he's got that very nice control. He can pass off his hip, and then he can just roll it off his inside foot or left foot if he has to. He's in control of his game, Reyno, when his kicking game's on. When we've seen him, when they had a bit of a form slump going this year and they went and pumped the Bulldogs in the wet, it was all on the back of Adam Reynolds' kicking game. Every time Broncos find a bit of relief from when they've got momentum taken away from them, it's either on the back of Reyno or on the back of Walshy. So, yeah, I still stick by it, and I believe if they are to hold the trophy on Sunday afternoon, I reckon Adam Reynolds gets Clive Churchill.
Oh, love that take. Love that take.
Yeah. And that's going to be a massive thing, because I still believe that Broncos win. If they were to win on Sunday, Reese Walsh will have to play a really good performance too. So for Reynolds, if he was to get Clive Churchill, it means he's actually played through the ceiling. And that's why they win. And that's why that I would believe you'd get Clive Churchill. On the other side of the field, your Clive Churchill could go to any of them, any of the four.
Yeah. How do you pick it? You're just guessing. All right. Well, before we wrap, there's something I want to ask you is, I guess, what's kind of if you can give us a little bit insight into what a shed's like on a grand final day.
Grand final week for me. I've only been a part of one. It was not a massive blow, because it's obviously still in your memory and in your thoughts. Grand final week's a special week because I was lucky enough to be a part of one. But my height was different, because today, obviously, Dally M's are on tonight. I won the Dally M the week of the grand final, so it was chaos. I think it was the week of the grand final. But there's so much chaos for the Broncos. They have to be down in Sydney early because they've got to participate in media and stuff like that. But in the sheds, it's the same. It's the calm before the storm. You know the occasion. I think to put it to perspective, and it's just for the footy nerds, go listen to Boyd Cordner speak about what grand final day is about and what the occasion about is. And I still look at that clip when I go through my things, and you listen to people talk about it. It gives me goosebumps still, because obviously he gets it. We talk about getting it on grand final day. I think he gets it, and
more than anyone. Probably.
Yeah, it's so crazy, because you've worked so hard for it, but there's only one mission left. And the mission is to go out there and win, and the other team's got the same objective, the same mission to go out there and win that. It's everything you planned for from November 1 right through to this day is in front of you. The script's there for you to write. And it's blank. The history is blank on it, and it's for you to actually go out and carve history for yourself. And sometimes your best game doesn't deliver that. I know when we played the Dragons, our first half we had some opportunities, some shit calls, and then we just got left in the sheds. We got blown off the park in the second half by a better Dragons team. But it's as we just briefly touched on, both teams have lost them. Both teams of players have won them. It's who takes the most moments. So. And like I said, I've gone for Broncos because Mitch went for Melbourne, but I could sit here and put my hat on why Melbourne will win and why the opposite. But I think it's going to be a cracker game either way.
Gun to your head. I know you went against Mitch for the sake of going against him. Gun to your head. Who are you picking?
Ooh.
It's a Storm. Surely it's a Storm.
Yeah, I'll go Storm just because I always speak about, and if we go back to our first ever, when we spoke about the predictions of the season, I said Storm would win the comp. I just thought they had the turnover of players was less than other teams. You might be able to get the clip up that we spoke about it. You don't have to go back through the ages. But, yeah, I think Melbourne can win. I think, like I said, they've got the better players. But another thing, though, we'll have a little chat about is, who do you reckon wins the Dally M tonight?
Oh. I really don't know. Dally M.
Because we talk about the runs of all runs. Reese Walsh, in those 6 games they won when Reynolds and Ezra are out, he nearly would have polled maximum points. Him or Billy Walters would have been the only player to take the other points off him. I reckon he maximises over the final. Obviously, finals don't come into it. So the final 6 games or 5 games of the regular season, I reckon he maximises.
I mean, everyone seemed to think Teddy was a fairly good chance.
He had a bit of time out. Teddy will poll points in Brewster's losses too.
Yeah.
The year I won it, and then the year that I come second in, I polled points when we lost.
Yeah, fuck, mate. I honestly, now you put it like that, I don't. It's probably going to be Walsh.
My Smoky's Munster.
Yeah, Munster could do it too, but then Storm with it.
He had some time out
players
too.
Could be getting it off him though. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, that's the unfortunate thing about these kind of things is like you're just in such a good team that
Canberra, fuck, they won heaps of games.
Strange. Is that a Smoky?
Strange, the fullback.
Do we think Cleary's a chance?
Fuck, he'd have to be.
He'd have to be.
9 in a row, 10 in a row.
Yeah.
We'll find out tonight, and the big trophy and the rings will be handed out Sunday. So that's a wrap for us footy nerds and 6s and 7s. Our little mate had some technical issues, a bit like Teddy Swings on grand final day. He didn't play a part. So hopefully Teddy Swings gets his voice sorted by this Sunday and he plays a part. He's no Snoop Dogg, but there's no other man we can fill for Mitchell Pearce. The AFL filled Snoop Dogg. We got Teddy Swings. I can't put anyone else in the seat other than my great mate Mitchell Pearce. So we love you wherever you are in the world on the internet. But that's a grand final wrap, and we will see yous all again hopefully next week or the week after, just to dissect and try and have a little chat about how the season was and what we'll look forward to come 2026.